Can a web developer actually make a game inside a website? So I usually just build websites, that's my thing, but today I thought let's go for a challenge. Meet your competitor, Miro. Me, yours truly. I'll be attempting to create a game with nothing but JavaScript and TypeScript. And the idea? PlayAnyCardGame.com. A game where you can literally create any card game possible with playing cards just by typing the rules of the game. What? Sounds simple, right? Well, no, not really, and you will find out why later in this video. The challenge. See, being a web developer and being a game developer are actually quite different things. As a web developer, I often think about the usability, clean interfaces, and making things just work. But as a game developer, I need to think about the feedback loop, the fun factor, and how the player actually experiences everything. So it's a bit different. And combining those two, not easy. At least not for me. Do I make it super fun? Do I make it super usable? Or somehow can I do both? But honestly, I don't really know. I'm just going off based off instinct. But I do know one thing as a web developer. I want the user experience to be so smooth. I want it to be so easy that you can just open the site, PlayAnyCardGame.com, and with a few clicks you're already in a game. The reality check. So here's the current landing page at PlayAnyCardGame.com. Unfortunately, it might not be visible when you're seeing this video because it's not finished yet. But when you go to PlayAnyCardGame.com, there is a newsletter you can sign up and you will be the first person to know when I actually release the game. I might even give like early users a shout out because I genuinely appreciate you so much. Now let's talk about the hardest part. Building a game engine from scratch. This is the game engine file I've been working on, and as you can see, the file is quite large. There's so many lines of code here. It's massive. Thousands of lines of code. And the reason is, unlike Unreal Engine or Unity, where the engine itself handles most of the logic, here I had to actually write everything by myself. Every rule, every system, every edge case, and honestly, it's been quite brutal at some times. But also, as a web developer, it's been quite addicting, because you want to get certain things to work, and you're really pushing yourself to, I want to get this a bit better, and I want to get this a bit better. So yeah, working on an engine is tons of nitpicking at least for me. You know, making fine adjustments here and there. Lessons learned. Here's the big realization I've had as a web developer trying to make a game. Websites are quick. You can actually create a website in a day or in a week. So adjusting to the long grind of game development has been tough. Games, they take forever to create. They might take years, they might take multiple months to actually create. That has been a bit of a challenge, because as a web developer I often like to move to do tons of different things. If I've done a website, I want to do something else. But with a game, that single product takes a lot of my time. So I need to use loads of time to build an engine. Because I am the kind of a guy who likes to finish things fast and then move on to the next thing in development business. But also there is tons of positives, of course. I already know coding and like TypeScript and JavaScript quite well, so I don't have to learn a whole new language compared to with some game engines that use their own coding language. And another positive is the design has been super fun. Like as a web developer, it's so easy for me to design like websites, design the landing page, the game table, the game area. It's been very fun actually. And I actually have a clear vision on how I want the game to look like. And most importantly, it has been very fun showing this to my friends and seeing them test it and seeing how they react, how they actually use the application. It has been very fun. I do get now why game development is romanticized. It does feel like you're raising your own little creature and just watching it grow bit by bit. Now, advice from a web developer to another web developer interested in creating games. Would I recommend you to try to make a game with a language like JavaScript or TypeScript? Of course it depends, but I'll give you my honest answer. Build something small. If you're a web developer and you want to see how creating a game feels like, build something small. Because personally I made that mistake. PlayAnyCardGame.com is not a small game. Don't do what I did and go massive right away. Start small, learn how games work, learn how to build a feedback loop that is enjoyable for the player. And the number one tip, at least I got, was that get people to test your game as early as possible. As early and as there is a playable version of your game, just get people to test it. It will help so much with the development. You will get early feedback and you can easily pivot at the early stages of the game to improve the feedback loop, improve the fun aspect of the game. For my key learning was that I realized that most players don't want to type 3 paragraphs worth of rules when they want to start playing a card game. So now my task is to make the game creation way more simple, easy, fast, with just a few clicks, while still having their idea in the game. So this is currently my challenge I'm facing. How do I make the game creation as smooth as possible while still having the possibility to create a more diverse game with a long set of rules? Looking forward, will I make more games in JavaScript and TypeScript? Probably not huge ones, no. This project is already crazy ambitious. I do have one smaller project in mind, but I will not tell more about that right now. More on that in the future, if I'm able to actually complete it. So if you really want to jump into game development, start with something super simple. Even I had in my university, we created a game with C#. Like we had a game engine around C#, and it was actually quite easy to use in the end. With good documentation and good teaching, I was able to create a game I was quite happy with. Also, there is nothing wrong with the traditional path of using Unity, Unreal Engine, or Godot, or any of the other game engines. A lot of people actually like Godot because it's open source, so it has tons of potential for fast development, I think. And you can also switch engines later. It doesn't have to immediately lock you in if you start to build with one engine. Definitely no. Like I created a demo game first with Unity, and then later I have already done another demo game with Godot. So it doesn't actually lock you in which engine you're using. So you can easily change game engines later in the future. But for me, this test has been so fascinating, and I feel like I have learned a lot. And I can't wait to actually release this game at PlayAnyCardGame.com and see what people think of it. And also see what people actually do with it. Like how many of you can break my game engine. I really want to see that. I might have to set up leaderboards just to see how many people can break my game engine. So if you want to be the first person to try PlayAnyCardGame.com, sign up at PlayAnyCardGame.com for the newsletter. And I'll be sure to let you know when the game comes out. You'll be in the beta phase and might even get a shout out at somewhere in the website where I can put it properly. Thank you so much for watching my ideas on game development as a web developer, and I'll hope to see you in the next one. Take care and peace.